Question. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 5 of the bills.
I make a motion to approve the outstanding bill in the amount of $260,714.32. And ratify the bills for $52,471.83 and $8,766.92.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Riley, discussion. The ratifying part, I would thought was gonna be a low number, but evidently not.
The ratification, can you explain the the 52,471?
Those aren't ratified.
Oh, those are just.
Those are just regular bills that we added
After the
a
fact.
little bit later. That's all those are.
Okay.
With that clarification, any further discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 6, a proclamation to recognize our telecommunicators and telecommunicators throughout the country.
I move to acknowledge the proclamation regarding National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 12th through the 18th of 2026, honoring all the unsung heroes who answer the urgent calls and effectively advocate help for everything from lost dogs to saving measures.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Weir, discussion. I think one of the points of this proclamation and the drive behind it is it's kind of easy to see somebody like what you gentlemen that badges and guns are on the front line, and yeah, they're at risk pretty much every day. But the telecommunicators should have, like Commissioner Riley really said, they're unsung heroes behind the scenes, and so they're probably don't get enough thanks, and it is a good thing that we get a chance to single them out. Unless there's further discussion, all in favor say aye. And opposed. Motion carries. Item 7. I took the Wise County Data Center proclamation and adapted it for the one county use. It's you had the Wise County the last time. I took it out. It's mostly the same. There's a couple of alterations that are make it a little more specific about groundwater because Blanco County is situated over the Fox Formation, and I don't think Wise County really is. And then secondly, I took out a couple of political references that are unnecessary because I don't think this is necessarily a partisan issue. So, however, this morning, one came in from Johnson County that they just passed, I guess, yesterday, and I haven't seen it yet. So if you're not happy with this one, you can put this off to another day. As we talked about last time, my interest in this one that brought to my attention is just that it seems to strike a balance between the idea that we're not opposed to responsible development in Blanco County and responsible economic development in Blanco County. But we grave concerns about, I guess, a couple of things: water, and then making sure our existing citizens, our lives are not adversely affected. And that, I think, is the goal of these, that and sending the message to our legislators that is out with you. Anyone?
Well, let me ask you with this resolution, if we were to pass this resolution, could we amend it later or add to it or change it in the future?
Yes, but Yes, I think my answer would be yes, I don't know why you could not, always change the resolution or modify later, but. If you have, uh. If you have thoughts already in your head about that, then maybe we ought to do. Move it down the road.
Well, I mean. To me, I mean, it's something that's fairly new to the community and to the state as a whole. I mean, I know other counties have been dealing with it longer than we have. But if, by learning from these other people, we might want to later on to force it better or to fine tune it. That's all I was asking.
I think this is to notify the legislation of our concerns, and I make a motion to approve the resolution regarding the establishment of the additional data centers in the state of Texas.
There's, sorry, second question.
Yes, sir.
Discussion. I think this is fairly. Innocuous, I mean, by that I mean, I think it just shares our concern. But I don't know that it paints us in any corner, and to your point, if we need to come back later and say more or something different, then I don't see why we could not.
All right.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. As I remember, the last part of this says that it will be conveyed to our senator and our state rep. As well as our The item eight, the updating of the rules is
Did you vote on that?
sorry.
Did it,
Change.
did you vote?
Sorry, what did you say?
I wasn't sure, you got the, motion in the second, did you vote?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I apologize. So back to item eight. Really, you want, all it is a,
It's the one paragraph that, states when the cutoff times are because of the new requirement for posting.
it's catching up with the state, the changing the state law.
Correct.
I also noticed, in 2023. Seems like they ratcheted it up one more time and said that if for some reason the commissioner court would vote no on the plat. We only have 15 days.
30.
They provide something else or do something, maybe I'm.
Yeah, I've always been sticking with the 30-day.
So as I understand it, you only have 10 days, you only have 10 days. Once it's turned in. And complete to notify them it's not complete, is that right?
I believe that is correct, yes, sir.
Right, so anyway, it's your paragraph number. To Roman numeral 3, that's changed.
Correct.
I move to approve the updated rules and procedure, conduct, and quorum at meetings of Lincoln County Commissioners Court.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner, for discussion. What about the red language at the bottom of that last page, is that there before?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes.
On the last page on the, application, yes, that's always been there.
Further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Item 9, this is just an announcement that I was asked to make on behalf of the ESD board. That the deadline for receiving applications for appointment to the board is April the 17th. At 4:40 p.m. That's odd. Why would we do that? Well, I guess that's if they're taking applications down there.
No, it should be 4:30 that close of business.
It's just odd.
Is finger errors, sorry.
and specifically, this is for, an appointment to replace. Mr. Hurd, who's in the back of the room there, and who's going on to the Blanco County City Council. And he'll need to leave his position on the ESD board. I think we have 4 or 5 for applications so far. Anyone out there on the internet is interested in applying, we have until April 17th, which is Friday.
Great.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nothing further on that. Then we'll move to, item, 10, property insurance renewals.
I might make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign the 2026 property insurance renewal questionnaire with the Texas Association of Counties.
Is there a second?
I'll say that.
Commissioner Ridder, discussion. Is the, Ms. Swift, does the, application, is this where it's gonna start catching up as far as the buildings in our inventory, or are they already got that?
They should have.
So we should assume that expense already in 2025. All in favor, in further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 11 is a proposed budget calendar. You'll remember that, we asked her to put in on the top that it's, aspirational, that it's not, we're not locked in case you want to change something on the line. But it was a guideline for us to, get the ability possible.
Making a motion to approve the proposed budget calendar for FY 26-27.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Ryan, discussion. So one of the things that, that I am fine with, but would mind if we can figure out how to do it sooner, and I'm curious, I'd be interested in knowing your feelings on it. On the actual workshops, because they're not scheduled until July the 14th, possible 15th, if we go further. And it may be that it just timing wise, there's too much going on in the summer, we can't get to it sooner, but, do any of you have, a concern if it could be done a little earlier, like the first part of July or the last part of June?
Are you saying like a special meeting, or are you trying to put it in the last?
I don't know, it would be the last meeting, if it was the last part of June, or if it would be a special meeting.
I don't have a problem.
Or it could even be the first meeting in July.
That is the first meeting of July the 14th. It's-
July, meeting.
Yes, sir.
Well, there you go, but, I was just trying to get a little bit ahead of. Thinking about trying to get a little bit ahead of the curve. But that's related. All right, so item 12. And 13 and 14. Involve. A couple of things, and 15 involve, a settlement agreement. I don't see Ms. Ashby,
She's in the back.
there she is. And Ms. Early. Honestly. One of y'all probably need to come up and tell us if you think differently, because I don't really see a need for an executive session. For this particular, settlement agreement, it's part of the opioid settlement agreement, it's a pretty small amount, as I remember the number. And it's, kind of perfunctory. Any thoughts?
We don't need an executive session for that.
So, I guess I'll hold off on 12 and 13 and ask the court to look at 14 and see if you will consider the further, that is something you need to discuss your attorneys. By the way, we're not the attorneys that made this settlement agreement.
I'll make a motion to authorize the county judge to execute the settlement participation and release form regarding the settlement offered in the matter of Texas Oakwood multi-district litigation for the county and the matter of the county versus Peru Farm of.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Riley. Discussion. If I remember correctly. I can't put my finger on it, but I want to say it was only like $2,600 or something like that. Which, you know. $2,600, but it's not. First, is there a second, there was a second, is there further discussion, and if not, all in favor say aye. And opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, once again, you may want to do an executive session and discuss this with your attorneys. Or Ms. Arley, Ms. Ashby, if you feel the necessity to. Otherwise, I'm fine with just asking the court to approve the agreement.
Yes, Your Honor, we're fine with just asking the court to approve the agreement.
I'll make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign the retainer agreement with Allison Bass and McGee for any upcoming litigation.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Eager, discussion? All in favor say aye. And opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the BIS consulting agreement that assists us with our 911 geo.
I move to authorize the county judge to sign a renewal agreement with BIS Consulting for 911 addressing pending county attorney approval.
Is there a second?
I'll say it.
Commissioner Weir in discussion. So, Mr. Walsh, we entered into this arrangement a few years ago, giving us Strickland some assistance, technical assistance, basically, kind of the hard IT part of it. And now that you're wrangling that duty, are we still good with BIS? Are they still assisting you, and you still have to?
Yeah, BIS is very useful for me. If I have any questions, they have somebody, I believe in Plano, who can get here in an hour and help me. They also make sure that all of the information I'm putting in is in compliance with CapCog's requirements for the monthly and quarterly reports and that sort of thing. So they are a very beneficial service for me.
So like Mr. Strickland, you're happy with them?
Yes.
Just to add on to that a little bit, during the next gen 911 migration that we did at the Capitol area. For instance, there was a section of I-35 that the mapper did not connect the 2 points. So if you was to call 911 in that blank section, nobody knew where you're at. So it is very important that all these lines touch and meet, so
Yes.
I'm very happy with BIS.
Yes, and they make sure that I don't make any little silly errors
Yes.
like that.
So, I remember Mr. Strickland on occasion. And it's not really a call, it's just hard. But
Yes.
Sometimes could be the line that literally cuts the next line.
Right, because I mean, whenever you look at it on the computer, you're talking about a very microscopic point on that map that has to connect. And if you don't make it match, it doesn't work right.
And in multiple areas, not just your little mapping, I mean, we're talking big skiing here.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Well, the Capitol people, I think, are happy because they raised up Blanco County more than once as having a gold star in the last few years anyway, because of, I think, our BIS. Yes. And by the way, I just on face the back of it, so I'm gonna have to give him credit. Although I don't know why he waited so long to tell me, but former county judge of Plano County, Ron Cunningham, is sitting with us today. And he had BIS before us. He goes to church with that guy we're talking about that lives in Plano.
Yes.
And he didn't bother to tell me about them, that they were a lot. That said, there is a motion on the table to approve the BIS consultant, let me ask, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Todd. Item 17, precinct 4 constables, firehouse subs, first responder grant.
Move to authorize Blanco County Precinct 4 Constable's Office to apply for the Firehouse Subs First Responder Grant in order to fund equipment for water response team.
Is there a second?
I'll say it.
Mr. Weird, you got it up, you want to say anything?
I have. a
Well,
question.
what does that mean?
What are you doing? What is it about?
So we all remember 2015, we're in a drought, every drought unfortunately ends in a flood. Now's the time to gear up and train for the next floods. We were all on the water when we had that issue, every single one of us. So this will give us life jackets, throwbacks, all the necessary life saving equipment we need to get in there. Do our rescues, do our unfortunate recoveries, and it goes into crime scene stuff too.
So you're not looking for like rescue boats and things like that? Okay.
No, this is
Just make sure.
different stuff, we're already outfitted with.
I love to hear.
And the nice thing about this is there's no match, they cut us the check, we get the life saving equipment, and this goes along with the little team we put together with the ESDs as far as water rescue, and then even the crime scene side of things, if we're getting in the water, find a gun. To work those things, we need the tools to be able to appropriately do that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Do you, before you sit down, do you, wanna, elaborate on the relationships you developed with another dive team or two?
Sure, so some of my counterparts down the Gulf Coast, the precinct 6 constable in San Patricio County, the Aransas Pass constable, and then the constable in Port Aransas, they have dive teams, water response teams, things such as that. And we've been in a great opportunity to be able to meet up with them, be it at Canyon Lake, Mammoth Lake, wherever in the state, and bring down some really good military trainers, some other dive team trainers to utilize these resources. And we've worked together that, come their next hurricane, if our county's good and safe and we work everything out, we'll help them hopefully. And they've also pledged that, hey, if we're in a bad way and the Gulf Coast, their own counties are doing fine, they'd love to come up here and help us. So it's been great to get together with them to train and work out all these issues and these unfortunate events.
In Central Texas, that means the Memorial Day is at risk.
And we all get a little twitchy when we start looking at the radars for Memorial Day, so it's now again, we're in the drought, now's the time to train.
So I'm gonna extend a little bit because Ron is sitting in the back room and tax promotion this month is tell a story, right? So I'll tell a little story. During the wildfire season of 2011, I believe, APD, no, yes, it might have been APD helicopter, using their basket to dip water out of the Pedernales hit they say they got home, but I think they hit the wrong button and dropped their basket into the Pedernales. DPS dive team came out to search for the basket in the Pedernales and pulled up to the courthouse with boats and everything else. And I was like, man, all you need is an inner tube and go out there. However, they searched and they have to do a grid pattern search. And if anybody's been in the Pedernales River, you cannot see in front of you this far.
Oh, yeah, and that's wishful thinking. Yeah.
So ended up using Travis County's robot to go in there after DPS could not find all of the cables or things like that. So very important stuff, very well to be trained on. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And there's my story. Ron.
Should have recorded it.
Further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 18, Rachel Philbrown, the report from the sheriff's office, and which will acknowledge.
I make a motion to acknowledge the 2025 racial profiling report for the Blanco County Sheriff's Office.
Is there a second?
I'll say it.
Commissioner Weaver, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, Motion carries. Item, 19 is the 17th amendment to the Axon.
I move to authorize county judge to accept and sign the Axon 17th Amendment to Master Services Agreement and Purchasing Agreement for a body camera docking station in the jail.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's reasonable discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries. Item 20. Declaration of surplus for company low radios.
I make a motion to declare the two UHF Motorola radios in the jail as surplus and authorize to distribute.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Baker, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Motion carries. Item 21. Sheriff Jackson or Rob, both.
I would just like to table this until we have a more discussion. I have plenty of openings, they're not. Gained 3 new openings last week.
Okay, but can we, so if we won't take it up, we won't consider it, but can we have a discussion about it? Conceptually, what you're thinking? Well, let me ask it this way. So we have a hard time finding people, and this can be true of all. We have a hard time finding people that are or want to be both certified jailers and certified dispatchers. But it takes 2 tests, 2 certifications, et cetera. And they almost don't want to do
Right.
thing. We have a hard time finding people that just don't be dispatchers right now because, yes. It just, I think it's happening all over because when I look around us, the other counties are advertising pretty heavily
Yes, sir.
for the same thing. So, the function, the way the building's constructed, and it's not the only one like that, there's lots of them in the state that are like this, but the way the building's constructed and the way the operations move, somebody in that control room, with all the windows and all the counters that's taking 911 calls. Also, it was controlling access around the building through the locking system. And that's really a jailer function.
Yes.
And so what we're thinking is we need a certified jailer in that room with the dispatchers. Somehow, whether it's a jailer that is a dispatcher or a jailer that's a jailer.
Well, at this time, we'd like to move the monitors and door handler cameras to the actual booking room and then close that and just separate.
I asked that like 2 years ago, we all said that it wasn't feasible, but now you're thinking,
Well, I think we can afford it now.
okay.
We've had bids on it. And
Is the booking room the same room as the one that magistrate?
Yes.
So you're gonna.
I gotta enclose the rest of it.
Close it.
And put it for wall.
Security and all that stuff. But then you just have nothing but dispatchers, doing nothing but dispatching in big room, all glass windows. And you
Yes.
have jail building, movement controlled by the other room.
By the judge's office, yeah.
Okay,
Just need dispatchers.
okay, well, my idea is to work, we put out a bounty and we got nothing. You managed to get 4, I'm just counting here, that what I think I know, but again, these are true false, but I think you got 4, and I think you told me you can really only teach 4 at a time, because
Right.
that's what the facility really allows,
Yes.
space wise, and so. So we had 10 people that came knocking on your door.
Right.
You teach 4 at a time. And you did, but
But I lost.
the law of averages caught up with us, and they didn't all 4 stay.
No, 3 left.
3 of them out of it. I thought it was like two, but okay. So. There are people,
I have people that I still have some applicants out, yes, that we can look back in.
there are people out there in this county that, that argue or that suggest that a regional approach is becoming the only way to go because we can't find dispatchers. And as it is, we're already using, we can't have a quasi-regional approach, but we still use phone calls at night.
Yes, sir.
And it's expensive.
Yes, sir.
And I personally, I don't speak for these people, I personally have always felt that you get better quality dispatching by somebody in county that knows that there's two divides.
Right.
The same darn name, but they're opposite ends, at opposite sides of the county. And I don't even know how many Black Creek roads there are.
A lot of that.
I don't think anybody knows, I'm sure, but anyway. Point being, I think you get better quality when you have somebody locally dispatching. That's always been my resistance to the idea of a regional approach. However, I wonder if one of these days the other side's gonna carry the argument, we're gonna wind up with being dispatched out of somewhere else.
I don't want to see that myself. I'd rather keep it in county. There is other options. I mean, one of the options is build on, Gillespie County. Build its own, dispatch center. It's, has its own entity, has a director and everybody else, and they dispatch for the whole county. They're not necessarily in the sheriff's office. They have their own director. It's extremely expensive. The other is to build a dispatch, complete new dispatch area. Where it's still under the sheriff's office. And there'd be other offices that would just be attached with any other growth. Which when the sheriff's office expands. Room is there. The design is, we've looked at it. That's expensive. And then as of right now, we can keep trying to rebuild and use hill country until we get it done. I think it can be done. There has to be some adjustments, and I think we work through the adjustments. But I just want to reiterate that it's not easy to come work here. At a pretty high standard. I don't keep it that way.
Is the Gillespie County dispatch center like a whole different department?
Yeah, it's next door.
Who, and so somebody's the head, and who does that person answer to?
I guess the county.
Commissioner Court or the sheriff?
No, I think it's the county, because I believe they do.
Just like Rosemary.
But he dispatches for the city of Fredericksburg as well, so it's Herm. Thanks, less.
How do they manage, how does that change it, that just because you know, put them in a different building, maybe you keep them in the same building, but just because you have a different different organizational chart, how does that attract more people?
I guess because they answer to less people, I don't know. Right now, our dispatchers also have to work real closely with the jail administrator, all deputies, all firemen, all EMTs. Over there, they have their own director, and I guess they make up their own. They are their own people. They're not just part of an office, giant office.
Is the Marble Falls unit like that?
Yes, it's a separate building.
But who,
But she runs.
Yeah, there's a director.
and she answers to Burnett County,
No, Normal Falls.
she answers to Marble Falls.
These municipalities, so do they contract with the county?
So
Do these municipalities, and other agencies contract with the county to work their 911?
Yes,
They do,
yeah,
so they will offset some of the costs.
yes.
As do our cities, the park.
Yeah, ours are-
Yeah, I'm not saying, no, that's stuff.
No, land and stuff like that, yes, today.
Okay. We just want to put this on to.
I'd like to put it off until further discussion. Around this.
Right, just for my own curiosity, you think it all the way to your budget request or soon?
It could be, listen, I really hope it's sooner, but it could be all the way back.
Yeah. I think we need to have some discussions about it. Come together as a team and have some discussions and see how we can tackle this.
Like I explained, there's several options, there's only one that I like. So,
Okay. It's a little bit, mysterious.
should be just mysterious, I would rather stay as one.
Okay, so, unless anybody has an objection, we will pass this item for another day.
Sounds good, thank you.
Our understanding of Front Row, either KSTD, but. I think there are. Ten budgeted slots that people will dispatch essentially. Now that includes a lieutenant and possibly 2 sergeants.
I think you're right, Mr.
Does that sound right?
That's that right.
So that would be a sergeant for each. Yeah,
Yes,
electrical oranges,
yes,
sergeant for each shift, a lieutenant to oversee things which you don't really have right now, right? The last one you had left us and had to go up and do those things. And then you have 7 slots for dispatchers. Yeah,
yes.
how many of those do you actually have?
Currently we have. Four.
You have 4 dispatchers.
What is benefits, yeah. One is a sergeant and 3 are.
Okay, so you're missing a sergeant, you're missing 2 dispatchers. And a lieutenant. Does that right? It's 5 people.
Yeah.
After the whole sheet.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Anything was that?
No, not this time.
Well, then let's move on to item number 22, which is the advertising bid.
I make a motion to authorize the advertising to bid for paving precinct 1.
Is there a second? Mr. Lyon, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Item 23. Plat approval for where the hell we live.
I have in front of me here all necessary papers, but there's some questions on. Say. This is phase 1 of 4 phases.
3,
Right.
3.
Three phases. And we only have 2 lists. Which are dedicated to irrigation. What are we gonna use for the PCEQ water?
Can I approach the podium? While you're doing that, when you say what are we gonna use for the PCEQ water?
Yeah,
Are you saying that part of this development, whether it's phased or one, 2, or 3, is a public water supply?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct, and the TCQ did approve the wells to be used for public water supply,
Okay.
and that was part of the package.
All right, how many Dan, y'all gonna be asking for more water?
Yes and no, because we already went through the public water system, we already got our for the whole subdivision, not only for phase one.
Going back up a couple steps,
So first,
because this is being recorded by the people,
Mhm.
give me your name.
yes, I'm Jose Lozano,
They can
Jose
say,
Lozano.
that was the.
Yeah, with a Z. Jose is with an S and Lozano is with a C, Lozano. I'm with Cood Engineers. And that's, Cood is kind of like food, but with a C. Engineers, and do I have to say my address?
No, sir, that's okay. What is your? I assume it's probably all this packet of paperwork.
Yeah, I'm the engineer for the project, yes, sir.
You are the engineer for this project.
Correct.
Who's your? I'm sorry, that would be. Who's the engineer?
Yes, my client. Yeah, it's on Puerto del Lobo. With CB Wine Tourism, and they're also here in the courtroom today.
Okay. So I've heard that there are 3 phases, but. We've never seen anything about, that I know of, about phases 2 or 3.
You've seen it, sir, yes, we did submit a master plan showing the rest of the phases as well.
Okay.
Well, and I'm not sure if you, sir, but we did submit to.
So in real rough terms,
Mhm.
if I take it a minute.
Yep.
Phase 1 is what?
It's 20 lots, all residential, 3-acre lots,
20 lots,
yes,
3-acre lot.
3-acre lots, yes,
How many homes per lot?
one
One home lot.
home per lot, yes, sir.
And. Do they own all 3 acres?
Yes, that is correct.
The person buys, that's 3 acre lot.
Buys a 3-acre lot, yeah. And then there's restrictions on how what the size of the house has to be, and
And those have a public water supply
those have a public water system, yes.
that you say that they're approved by TCE.
That is correct.
How do they handle sewer?
Sewer is gonna be septic. So
Septic,
each lot is gonna have its own septic.
on their 3 acres,
On the 3 acres, yes, sir.
okay? And phase 2.
Exact same thing. We don't know where
You
these,
say, how often you say phase 1?
it's about 20 lots.
And then phase 2?
Phase 2 is about. It's probably close to between 15 and 20. We haven't like I dialed in completely, but it's gonna be the exact same thing, 3-acre lots.
And then 3?
Yeah, 3-acre lots per each.
I'm sorry, phase 3.
Oh, phase 3 is, it's a total of 54 lots. So depending on where we're at with phase 2, the rest is gonna be phase 3. And we just haven't delineated exactly phase 2 and 3, but we did show a master plan showing where that location is gonna be at.
But you said pretty definitively, so whatever. The 3 work out to be, the end result is 54.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And those are all 3 acres of lots, one home,
Yes, in each lot.
public water supply,
Mhm.
and. Septic on each 3 acre lot,
Exactly. Mhm.
nothing crosses lines.
Nothing crosses lines, no.
And you remember that early on, there was this discussion about tiny homes and multiple homes on these lots and. And they might have to share a septic system and all that.
That is correct. Yeah, the project started with a condo septic. That was the idea to do 10-acre lots and do each house in 1.5 acres. I know you mentioned tiny, I don't think it's tiny, but we did change all that. We went to go get a public water system to do 3-acre lots. And we followed the county rules, regulations, exactly how it's rated today.
Okay, so 54 acre lots and homes. Takes a certain amount of water, but. there's some other things that are taking a lot of water in this development. Not public, not public water, a lot of water just around.
Content to be found on.
What, so sorry, can you specify?
Things that I don't know about, things that I've heard about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Event center,
Uh-huh.
ginormous swimming pool,
Yeah, it is, I don't think it's gonna be as enormous, but
wine,
it's a big year, yeah.
here.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was.
Now, everything, all that, it's also, everything that has to be related with water has been permitted through TCQ.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Because, I'm under the impression that you say everything that has to do with water has been permitted. I'm under the impression that the Blanco, Berghouse, and groundwater control district is still considered a permit.
No, they did sign our letter and it's also part of the package where they approve at least phase one. I'm talking about phase one. They haven't seen phase two or phase three. And the only thing that could change from the TCQ stuff is if we go and do something commercial. If it has to be something commercial, we do have to get a different type of TCQ. But everything that's on the residential part has been approved.
Okay, what kind of commercial are you thinking about other than, everybody gets wine tasting room?
Yeah,
And party ever attached to it, and whatever else goes along with it. But are there other commercial?
and no, that would be, I don't, then that would be a question for my client here. But to my knowledge is, yeah, having a wine tasting room, maybe a restaurant with a wine tasting. But other than that, I'm not sure if there's anything else that they will.
So the island is scheduled for, this is Tuesday, right? Thursday, before the groundwater control district that appears to be discussing a permit of the ownership for this project. You're saying it's already in the approved?
I did not even know that there was a line item considered by them, but we do have an approval letter from them. So, I know,
For all three phases.
I know, for phase one.
If I could. They're giving you approval on phase one, but not for the other two.
And your, Daniel is, the water expert here, so I'm on the civil side, and he's the water.
Yes, I'm sorry, I should promote first. My name is Daniel Hinckley and my company is Blue Oak Engineering. And I specialize in TCQ permitting in particular, but in public water systems. So Jose has been doing the civil and site design, and I have been doing the water system permitting in its various aspects. And there are 2 wells on the property. The one well does have a completed Blanco Berghouse Groundwater District permit for irrigation only. And the second well is planned for only public water system. It was approved by TCQ for that use almost 8 months ago or so. And TCQ reviewed the full site plan, it's an existing well drilled in 2005. And it has sufficient water and good quality for all of the homes for that 50.
Is that for phase one or all three phases?
It's approved for all 3 phases. So it's already approved by TCQ for construction and use for all the phases. And the permit with Blanco Berghouse Groundwater District is still pending for that second well for the public water system. It has to do with the Public Utilities Commission because it's a residential development. They'll have a CCN, certificate of means necessity, and that process just takes a long time. So we were still waiting upon that to complete. And Blanco Berghouse, with the Groundwater District, we started the process. We had a public hearing. The permit has not been issued yet, but we just moving forward with this. So.
Sorry, I just caught. When you say the permit has not been issued yet, do you mean a permit or a Blanco County groundwater?
The Blanco Berghouse Groundwater District
Has not been issued yet.
has not given us the revise that to a permitted well.
Why is it that, you're working for the Blanco County, right? These projects all.
Yes.
All over the state probably.
Well, I know I'm very local, actually. I live here in Blanco County and I mainly have worked in Western.
Well, maybe you can't answer this then. I'm just curious why we have, I'm curious if we're unusual that we have the plat approval, where a statute says one of the things in a plat approval is to determine adequate groundwater. But we do that before the groundwater folks permit.
I'm not sure, I'm not an expert on the new types of regulations, but what I've been running into also is some overlapping regulations. For example, from my perspective, the only reason why Blanco Pernas was not able to issue the permit right away is because their regulations mention this convenience and necessity certificate, which is, a PUC process, another entirely separate agency. Their rules do not require anything until there are 15 houses being lived in properly. So, the rules don't match across various agencies. And one is required something that TCQ also, we actually had a variance in TCQ when they issued their approval. They check on this same CCN thing. I was able to convince the reviewer that that process did not have to be completed for us to begin building and to get TCQ approval.
Okay, so there are two big wells on your property.
Yes.
And one of them does one of them does one.
So one has the Blanco Pernas approval for irrigation only. And other site uses, mainly for the vineyard, for the vines.
And the other one?
The second one is the one that has been approved by TCQ, but is still waiting on Blanco Pernas. And will be providing water to the homes, to the residences, and there is a commercial aspect.
And you're the engineer on the water side, you're the expert on water.
Yes.
And so you've looked at those two wells, and you're the one that says it's adequate for this development.
Yes, we also have the groundwater availability study and certificate that was issued. That wasn't my firm, but there was another groundwater scientist.
Okay, so now we have three firms. We have a firm that did the groundwater availability study and certified it. We have you that I guess overlooked that process. And then we have a third engineer that we hired to overlook you. Right?
Well, and you're missing a key.
So the pump that's doing the TCEQ group, what's the gallons per minute pump?
There's no pump installed on the well. It was tested by that groundwater scientist and shown to provide around 85 gallons a minute.
So in your design of your TCEQ approved system, what gallon per minimum pump will you provide?
We're planning to provide something around that, around 80.
Around 80?
Yeah.
So that would go into a different permitting, and I guess I'm just trying to understand this whole little process of, that would go into the different permitting. Due to, a typical well pushes 17 gallons a minute, anything below 70 gallons a minute. If you go above, exceed 70 gallons a minute, then you gotta get a different permit, and I guess that's what you're doing.
That's for the Blanco,
Okay.
for the groundwater district has to approve, get that.
Does the TCEQ approval contemplate, it's on the well, not the vendor well, right?
That's correct.
Does it contemplate the 54 lots, the build out, or is it just for phase one?
It's for the full build out, yes. It actually has, when we did that, I mean, it was 58 lots, I think.
Are those wells close together?
Not really. They're across the property from each other.
Yeah, about the same depth.
Yes, they're definitely in the same aquifer, but the groundwater study also was looking at whether they were influencing each other. And found that they were, produce strongly, from each well, without having any excessive drawdown.
Are you saying they don't influence each other very much?
No, not very strongly.
What about the other wells around them?
The only wells, so the closest wells to this property are on the property to the west, immediately to the west. I don't know the full history, but I believe this property was subdivided in the past. And these wells were drilled in order to split off this 208 acres. The wells to the west, I don't have, I really don't, I haven't seen anything about influence or the drawdown to them. We do have, though, that was the subject of some questions from the groundwater district. And we actually had to get a variance from that landowner to the west. He signed something with groundwater district stating that he's accepting our use of that well. The permitting, the well that was posted to him is the irrigation well. And it was actually too close under groundwater rules. We had to get a variance to those rules in order to use it, and that landowner had to agree to our use of that. There are 3 wells, I think, right along that property line.
Did you say 208 acres?
I believe so, yes.
The other property, you're talking about the other property?
No, this property.
Well, I just divided 208 by 54, and it comes up to 3.85 acres per. But that's that doesn't leave us a whole lot for the event center and the vineyards and the.
Oh, the 54 lots it does include the event center, like that, one of the lots is the event center, and that's actually a little bit bigger lot.
Where's the water coming from for the event center and that whole? Where's that water come from?
It will be the same public water system. TCQ also views all uses on the property, if it's open to the public or residents, needs to be connected to the same water system. So it's all from that one well.
On the event center, do you know now by the design what capacity it's gonna be on weekends? It's gonna be larger crowds.
That I don't know, that's probably a question for the client.
So, good morning, I'm Jose Bulnes, I'm owner of Puerto del Lobo. Talking about the commercial and the residential, so there's another property attached to our property, which is 12 acres too. That is on next to the 290, that's 12 acres plus the 208 that we have on back of it. The commercial side is a completely different business model, completely different item that is in our opinion is something we will figure out later. We have come to this design, we have a restaurant, just to clarify, a restaurant, wedding venue for just for the weekends and a tasting room. That's it on the 12 plus 10 acres that we subdivided, so it's 20 acres more or less of commercial, besides the other 190 acres for the residential, right? The water, I just wanted to say that we are really conscious about water. We have created this natural drain that collects water. We're in our HOA. We're asking all the home buyers to build rainwater collections. We're not storing any water, anything in water tanks, so we continue the cycle of water, and all that drain that goes to a natural pond that filtrates water right next to the aquifer, right? So that's the way that we approach water issues in this development. The amount of water we're asking to the Pedernales Blanco Pedernales Water District is, in a sense, up to TCQ on this second well. Because TCQ has some regulations that Danny will clarify later about how many, you have to have a certain pump to qualify for the TCQ. That pump requires a certain amount of water per year, gallons per year. So it doesn't mean that the amount of water we are applying to the Pedernales Water District is the amount of water we're gonna use. We're gonna be really conscious about it, not only about water, also about gas guidelining. And also about energy, we're asking solar for all the development. So that's kind of a little of the overview we have in order to contribute the hill country essence. right?
You said that was gonna be separate, that 20 acres or.
Yeah,
whatever,
that's gonna be separated from the.
But it's still gonna use the same water.
It's, yeah, it's calculated on the water on the TCQ permit. That, you know, if you can confirm that the amount of water we're approved by TCQ and the availability of the well. Satisfies the amount of water we'll need for the commercial as well. Also on 54 lots that will have inside.
So did DCEQ approve you for the 29.5 million gallons? Or a certain part of that?
Well, the TCQ regulations, don't actually, they have a certain minimum calculation. That we have to show that the well can provide. But they don't give us a permit for, you know, the groundwater district then has to, is one of the permits that withdrawal, right?
So the TCEQ, just summarizing it for somebody like me, doesn't have their expertise. The TCEQ permit is making sure that the public is gonna get water to their washing machine and their shower and whatever. But it's based on what you present them. But it is not about what's coming out of the ground. That's here at the Whitego County groundwater people to analyze that, right?
Well, the TCQ permit does look at water quality and availability. So it does say that that well is, you have to show that well is good enough as a source. But the groundwater district is, you know, responsible for the health of the aquifer, more or less. And essentially, and so they give these development permits for a larger well, for installing a large pump. And so they have to approve it.
I'm gonna slander your last name because I didn't catch it very well.
Yeah, that's Bulnes, B as a boy, ULNES.
Angus, Willis, okay. You said, well, let me say it this way, you know, the county has limited powers. The county can tell people what size road, how the road needs to be built, things of that nature. The county cannot tell a home builder they must install a rainwater system. You said we're asking our people to install rainwater systems. And my impression is that a developer can require it.
Yeah, it's
But
on
you're not requiring, you're just asking, is that right?
That's on the limitations of the HOA, and every home design, every house will go through an architectural design, also under this quality designs, we will check the rainwater collection tanks and everything to the conservation of the hill country that we're looking.
And I'm not sure if we connected, I'm saying that through the process of the sales transactions. You can require a person that buys the 3 acre lot and there's a homeowner. To install a rainwater system.
Yeah,
What you're saying, we'll ask them to do it, and if they do it, then we've got some HOA regulations about how it's maintained, but you're not. You are or you're not requiring.
we are requiring, yeah,
Rainwater.
yeah.
So it'd be in the HOA and the deed restriction saying that they'll have to have.
Exactly.
Every lot.
Every law, yeah, so we can guarantee that the rainwater, that the water will be conserved and collected in the. Through the open channel to the pond.
Saying it'd be required.
Yeah, it's something, it's part of our guidelines, this is gonna be an HOA, everybody will be part of that.
So that was minimum
And now you're
size.
taking the
Minimum size.
Now you're getting into Johnny Depp land, because there are rules and there are guidelines.
Yeah, well, it's part of the HOA, it's part of the guidelines, we won't allow, or we won't permit everybody to build their house. Since they're part of the community, they will need to be inside the regulations and the architectural designs that we have. Part of that regulations and designs will be rainwater collections. If they don't comply with that one, we won't approve that project. I'm not saying it's gonna be on the deed, but it's gonna be a part of a necessity for us to be part of it. You have to build that home. It's gonna be part of the.
You won't be optional.
No, we won't allow that because we are concerned, we are also concerned, we are also familiar with the water issue here in County and country. And we want to preserve that essence of the hill country as part of our beauty, or the beauty of this project is conserving the hill country.
Did, I asked, Mr. Feaster, question, Mr. Feaster, one did a report for us on this, didn't you, sir?
Yes.
Looking at your report here. And, it's saying, in your opinion, that this fails to meet the requirements of Blanford County Development Regulation. That's on.
That was the first one.
Keep digging. It's in there.
Pardon me?
It's in there. The other ones.
That's the follow-up.
Is,
Okay. Originally, they submitted what they thought was a water availability report, but it was just an aquifer test that Wet Rock Groundwater Services had performed. And all it was proving is that these wells could produce X amount of water each. It had nothing to do with following the Blanco County groundwater regulations and the water availability report. And so I rejected that because it wasn't a water availability report. And then a few weeks later, they came back with an actual water availability report.
So you feel good about it now?
They met all the requirements of the water availability report. That was good. There's a requirement in the regs that require that all of the TCEQ and all of the local groundwater district rules and regulations be followed. And neither I nor the Wet Rock Groundwater Services consultant had anything that documented that. And that's been a problem in other reports involving public water systems, because the applicant is the one that gets all those documents together. They don't come to me, they don't go to the geologist doing the water availability report. So I said that the water availability report itself meets the requirements of the Blanco County subdivision regulations, but we're missing these, and he has at least provided me with the number of the public water system. And so I knew that something had been done. There's paperwork somewhere. So in my report at the very bottom, it says that I recommend that the applicant provide Blanco County with all this missing documentation from TCEQ and the groundwater district. Shortly after that, we got some documentation from the TCEQ that they had indeed granted this public water system. There was one exception, and Connie asked them to supply that additional documentation on exception for well number 2. And that was just simply that these were existing wells that were being brought into use as public water systems. And the TCEQ granted an exception which required a specific program of water quality testing to be submitted on I forget, maybe it's monthly.
Twice monthly.
And for a several month time period. And then at that point in time, TCEQ would most likely, accept the fact that the well was operating in a sanitary public water system manner as if it had been built originally with that intent. And so we got that paperwork done. We didn't get anything from the Blanco Pedernales Groundwater District. And I checked the data records for the groundwater district, and that confused me somewhat. And so the database of the groundwater district said that these 2 wells, one was for irrigation, one was for public water supply, but they were listed as exempt wells, which means that they were producing less than 17 gallons a minute. But the water availability report said more than that. So I'm just saying the groundwater district's got to figure this out. And it may be, I think you mentioned about the CCN.
Yes.
And that you got to have 15 connections, and I don't know that they understand at the groundwater district what the difference between a public water system and a CCN is. You can have a public water system without having a certificate of convenience and necessity. For instance, a lot of the wineries out here that have tasting rooms, they have a public water system certification of their wells because they're operating.
I'll give you a simpler example. We had for many years, a well at the fairgrounds, and we had a.
Exactly, yeah.
We did not have a certificate.
The city of Blanco, as I understand it, last I understood, they have a public water system, but they don't have a CCN. So I think there's some confusion there. So
CCNs are for private. It's not like city of Blanco or even county. I think
Well,
it's right.
a CCN grants that holder of that permit the ability and requirement to provide water within a designated service area. It's all mapped out. Yeah,
What's also for public entities.
the city can too, yes. So I guess it sounds to me like we're missing the Blanco Pedernales groundwater district paperwork is all. And I'll jump ahead a little bit here. When I was the general manager of that groundwater district for like 22 years or something like that, we waited until the TCEQ granted public water system approval because we didn't have that authority. We wanted to get their well permitted as a public water system within our permitting system. But we didn't want to jump the gun and say, okay, here's a public water system permit from the groundwater district, which didn't mean anything.
And that takes time.
And that, well, it all takes time. The TCQ is probably the slowest.
Exactly. We're in the same boat on a different subdivision.
That's right.
They still don't have all the paperwork, there's
Yeah.
still lots of it, so.
And quite frankly, if the groundwater district processes it this coming Thursday, there's no reason to have another water availability study done, another water availability report. All that science has been done. And that's why I mentioned in my review of it that they had met the requirements as far as the water availability report.
Can I ask you a couple questions and give you a chance to embarrass me because Chrysler already has it forward. It's all that science has been done, but you're the water guy.
Yes, sir.
Everybody in the room knows, I think, that groundwater flows in Blanco County from west to east. It just flows. That's the way it goes. It's coming from Lamb County. It's coming from Mason County. Groundwater flows through here and goes that way.
Not particularly, no,
Okay, so we don't agree on that, right? Okay.
the groundwater, well, the aquifer, the geology actually, the aquifers that we're looking at don't exist in Mason.
Okay.
Like they have the land uplift,
Well, speaking of aquifers, I had this long discussion with Mr. Griesler one time, and I don't believe in, man-made climate change. I believe climate change is not man-made, particularly. And so, I don't know that, so when people start talking about karst formation, and Blanco County was special, and we have water problems. Oh, I wasn't so sure. I'm not into that. But I got thinking about it, and if you take something like Phoenix, there are millions of people in Phoenix, Arizona, and the surrounding area on a desert. And they don't seem to have really water problems. They just gush water and run. And they don't have the karst out there for what I'm told. We do. So I'm beginning to think that Blanco County is a little special in this karst thing is the real thing. And here's the concern that I have with you or with this project. You've got two big wells that you're getting ready to pump a whole lot of water out of the ground. And we don't agree, I guess, the water flows from west to east, but if you probably might be able to agree with this, if you draw a line through those two wells and you keep going, eventually you're gonna hit a really big well that services Johnson City. In fact, maybe even a couple. And that's a concern for me.
Okay.
How many times can we keep doing this without affecting people downrange?
So that is exactly what the water availability study is trying to answer. that question of the drawdown cone compression, how far water is being drawn out of the aquifer, how far out does it affect? And the study that Wet Rock provided for this project was specifically, on this well that we're going to use. I, just the top of my head, what I remember is them saying that at the property line, 600 feet away, there was a possibility of about 7 or 8 feet drawdown. So the aquifer at the static water level, when you put a pump in, it draws that water down. And that zone of interference or influence is not anticipated to be significant, at any real distance. So at only 600 feet away, the drawdown that was about a 200-foot column of water, only about 6 feet of it was lost, 6 to 8 feet. So we keep going, and that zone of influence just disappears even more and more, tapers off. Basically, this well pumped at its at the design capacity that we're planning for. I don't think that it's going to influence even the closest neighbor as well. Might see something, but it would be in the range of a couple feet on a 200-foot column of water.
But that's running after 48-hour test, right?
Yes, so this is.
So what's your recharge? What's your bounce back?
So that's what the that's a good question. The calculation is actually a very conservative calculation. So even that calculation that comes up with this, how much is it going to influence the neighbor, which is the point of the water availability certificate. That is a conservative calculation because it says you're pumping 24 hours a day, which we're definitely not going to do. It also doesn't account for aquifer recharge. So the aquifer is receiving water also, just constantly. And it's it's a theoretical.
I can answer. I did a study on Cave course I had with Wet Rock groundwater surfaces. That model was for 30 years, to 7 feet is 730 years of production.
Yes, so that calculation, conservative calculation, it's based upon full production after 30 years.
But when you do your test at 48 hours, you're pumping max capacity at 48 hours and it draws down, let's just say 6 feet. And what is my bounce back rate?
So theoretically, all aquifers should bounce back in the same amount of time that they're pumped. They don't actually do that. But the bounce back, once you shut the pump off, it recovered 90% of that drawdown. I think it was in 9 minutes. So.
Mr. Caesar, do you see any problem with the fact that they're not finished with the groundwater district yet, and we're in here asking to get variance moving forward?
I think that once the groundwater district gets finished processing its paperwork, everything will be fine. I just don't know how long it's gonna take them, and it's not gonna change the public water system permit from the TCEQ, which they've gotten. I think that they just need to get that paperwork processed and submit it to the county eventually. I have had one thought in my mind that hasn't been mentioned yet. And Cave, you may help me on this. The study, he broke it down into the irrigation demand, domestic residential demand, the event center, wine tasting facility, all that, and there was a hotel mentioned.
That's correct.
And I haven't heard the hotel mentioned here today. And I don't know what the status of that is. Maybe it's way in the future or something, but that was part of the calculations.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to what we did. I don't know what the plans, their future plans are, but we tried to take into account when we talked to them about what were all of the possible uses of water that could be sort of taking into account the maximum amount that would be used, and that included all those uses.
And all those four together added up to less than the production capability of the two wells combined.
That's correct, yeah.
So
you need to show that from a TCQ perspective, you meet their minimum capacity.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your walking up, I didn't get what your capacity is, what you.
Oh, yeah, I'm, the owner of Wet Rock Groundwater Services. My name is Kaveh. It's K-A-V-E-H, K-H-O-R-Z-D.
And you're installing the water system.
No, we just did the groundwater availability study. We do public supply wells throughout the
You did the
state.
study that he,
That I used, yes, in the,
We just did the groundwater availability certification on this project.
so. None of the three engineers that have anything to do with. The developer saying, I am going to make them put in a rail line system.
I have nothing to do with anything of that. I just did the study.
So I have a question for the next slide of this, Ron Bischoff, any concern on your side?
Not that I.
They've met all your requirements?
Is the variance still on the table? Is that sort of question?
That is correct. Yeah, I mean, as far as on the pavement section,
Yes.
yeah, well, the way that, we've got a geotech report that recommended a revised section. We did not have from the design engineer, basically that new pavement section showing on his plan set.
So you're just waiting for that to get attached to his plan set?
Yes, that information is actually so that, if I walk out there in the field, there, you know, I point to that on the plan, the contractor seeing it. This is the pavement section in these higher PI sections, what's being, gonna be constructed.
And you're aware of that?
Yes.
And you're gonna take care of that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, so the January 6th variance request is still part of your package.
That is correct, yes.
And you say you'd like to not do fire hydrants because the subject property faces unique and significant hardship due to limited water availability.
Correct. I mean, if you go on to try and get a fire hydrant on the property, now you're talking about a lot bigger funds.
very significant.
Yeah, like, that is.
And those are the question we have. This is, well, those are the question and the, you know, was it NFPA, the NFPA. Regulations we met also with the. Environmental marshal, and he was definitely understood that right away. Because the fire hydrant requires such a large volume of water and over at least many grade mountain. The TCQ as well, like their approval showed things, you remember our study from the beginning. The well is definitely sufficient for the residences or for the commercial use. That doesn't have a capacity for fire.
Well, y'all were aware that we require in our rules and regulations.
Yes, we started doing that with the fire marshals near a year ago. And then.
Yeah, we met with them and we explained all this and I mean, he even mentioned that this is being done before as well. And he thinks this is the best way to approach this instead of doing fire hydrants.
So, question, now, when you talk about commercial side of things, now that throws in a different light. Because we talk about residential, you know, your 3 acre tracts. I've seen variances or I've seen subdivisions before that didn't have to do it. So, but when you hit that commercial level, now your fire suppression, your fire code changes at that commercial level. Is your system sufficient to produce all the fire suppression needed within the commercial facilities on this property?
We don't have a final design.
That's true. I mean, but if you're thinking square footage wise, you know, and I don't know, Matt can probably help us back there. You know, if you're thinking your size of your restaurant is, you know, 30,000 square foot, you know, I have to have sufficient water in there to run those sprinklers in the building, right?
Yeah, that's a much smaller volume than a hydrant system.
It is, but you know, you're also talking about just capacity, basically. When you talk about fire hydrants, in my mind, and I'm simple minded, I'm talking about capacity, I'm talking about storage. You know, yes, that's
exactly because
That's
the
it.
well produces a fixed rate.
it's only gonna produce so much, but you gotta have enough storage to produce that amount out of the flow, out of the fire hydrant for a certain amount.
So any commercial facility that needed a fire suppression system would be applying to the public water system and would need to show how they're going to provide that need with what the water system is able to provide. So we designed it, you know, from TCQ's perspective, this does not contemplate a hotel at this point. With the TCQ, their approved plans show the residential development and restaurant or winery, tasting room, something commercial in front. But the calculations that TCQ reviewed were for a lower volume there. So there's some, you know, potentials in the future for other things. That also means that the water availability study that Mr. Corso did, he did include a hotel in his calculation. It makes it even more conservative on how properly.
But you're gonna be using that water for the hotel, for the two wells, correct?
There's
Well, I mean, you are, you're not, right? Or are you gonna get separate water for it somewhere else?
That's not the idea, the hotel is just not the idea, it's not something we.
No, is it part of this plan?
No, it's not part of the.
It's 20 acres, so.
Speaking of the plan, because he asked you, Marshall, that changes things. And you said, well, we don't have a design for that yet, right? So. I'm trying to figure out how that's fair. For a court to consider the whole package, when we don't know what the design's gonna be.
As you said earlier, that this water supply is gonna go for the hotel.
Yeah, and it's on the water availability study, it's consider all of this, because that's the way we know we have, I mean.
But you don't know that there's gonna be a hotel there.
No,
You don't know there's gonna be a restaurant there.
It's a worst case scenario kind of thing. We always plan for the worst case scenario. And that's what it's being planned for. But yeah, we still don't know exactly what's gonna be, but it is
It's
decided.
definite though, that there'd be like if you're gonna have a vineyard, you're gonna have a wine tasting room and maybe a restaurant attached. And those are the things that he starts talking about, sprinkler system, the fire suppression. Right?
Yes.
However you do it. And the need for, adequate water to.
I'm sorry, it was intended to say, like, you know, a restaurant or a vineyard that is going to have fire suppression.
And we know we're gonna have that.
Yes, well, they would need to provide their own tank and the fire suppression system. That's not part of the water system necessarily.
Right.
Would be done by the facility and it's.
I got an off the wall question, and I don't know if you can answer it or not. Could an irrigation well be used for a fire suppression system in a commercial facility as opposed to the public water system?
Yes, I think so, with appropriate.
I mean, it could be plumbed in where it would work, I was just curious.
Because but the point of the question is, nobody's gonna stick their mouth up to a sprinkler.
Yeah. But I guess a point to it is like the school district in Blanco, they had to incorporate a large tank outside to supply their fire suppression system on their new addition. That's something that this, whatever commercial facility would use, yes, it takes, but it's just a storage, it's just there for worst case scenario that there's a fire.
I just can't see it, I don't know if it's a multi-floor, hotel, I'm assuming it's three.
No,
stories.
yeah, what is, for the first steps of the commercial for us and must have is, as the judge was saying, wine tasting, restaurant, and wedding menu. All of those we don't have the final design yet, but we have the square, the size of it, and we have enough water. There's some calculations, there's some data that tells you how much water you use per person in the restaurant or per visitor in the wedding venue, or per visitor in the wine tasting. So with that being said, we run the water availability studies on those. I mean, if we will have 100% occupancy in the restaurant, have 100, and then there's space for us to have, because we have plants. If the water is there and the plants are still there, what we're thinking is a 35 boutique hotel, no more. and not a multi-layer, just spread out like a cabins or something like that. And that's something we will be discussing, afterwards. It's just an idea, it's just a plan. We wanted to have that in the availability in case of one.
But are you thinking about using this other water system to facilitate that if you decide to do that? I can't imagine a hotel without fire hydrant in front of it. But maybe there's a way around it. I don't know.
Maybe as Chris is gonna say, maybe just thinking out loud, and not having ideas, but using multiple wells, and there's plenty of water on those wells. But our intention is not to use water just for use water, is to maintain the Texas field country essence. Because that's part of our pitch sales for blood sales, and it's something we want to accomplish with this pretty other, it's something we're really aware. We wanted to do it, however, we're gonna go through the numbers and be very conservative in our calculations, so it's, well, that's the idea and the way the water availability was asked having to be done.
You know where a county can't make you require rainwater collection.
Yeah,
I mean, you said you were gonna require the first year's number, is that in the package anywhere?
that's part of the HOA and as well as Skyline Lightning and some other ideas we have to consider in the history.
So would you, when you say part of the HOA, we like the HOA bylaws,
So
and we have those.
I think, yeah.
You should have them, yeah. Yeah, it's another one, it's.
One other, can I bring up, because I mean, I just now, the geotech did a revised report. It was based on basically 1,000 trips per day with only 2 trucks per day. If this, it goes more commercial, and that's when, I'm not sure if that, the geotech took that into consideration. A hotel and other with more deliveries and so on in this combination.
So on your, using that map right there, I don't know if that's even feasible in your opinion, where is the commercial? Is it up on 290 up there? Go ahead and show you.
So this right here from this line, property line, all the way back, this is 280 acres.
Right.
That's what we're trying to replat today.
Right.
This orange area is phase 1 with the natural pond and the natural drain that flows all the water to the pond, so we can regenerate the 20 lots, each of them, 19 of them, 3 acres, another one 10 acres, so it's 11 acres, sorry, 11.6. This property right here, it's owned by a sister company, the owner is right here, Abbott. It's 12 acres of property. The idea is having the commercial area in this 12 plus 11, the 23 acre commercial side. Phase 2 is all the yellow area, and phase 3 is all the pink area. We, as we are aware of Blanco regulations, we cannot build more than 54 lots, because there's a ratio that you need to divide the number of acres that you have by 4. So we have 20 in phase 1, and no more than 54 on the other 2 phases. So commercial will be on this 20-ish acres.
So in your permit, your textile permit, I've seen that they're requiring you to put a turn lane in.
Exactly.
Left turn.
Left turn. It's been approved as well, and
Yeah, it's been approved for a while now, maybe a year, more than a year, but yeah.
Is there currently a turn lane on there?
There is an existing turning, but it's smaller than TxDOT actually requires, so what we're doing is we're actually adding a little bit more width on that 290, that way we can make the turning a little bit bigger, because there are a lot of big trucks who make it there.
From, on the other side, let's just say east of Triple S Trail, beyond. Triple S Trail is the road in the north of the 290 road there.
Yeah, the extension is gonna be on our side, because that's where we have more right of way, and it's only like a 2 feet extension.
Just restripe.
Yeah, and then we're gonna restart the rest, correct? Yeah,
But it's gonna extend beyond triple S truck.
I can't remember the exact width, but it's kind of like following what's existing there.
Sure would be nice if you extend this, just beyond that.
Yeah, there is an existing and we're kind of following that design already, just making it a little bit bigger.
But to answer your question, and all that stuff was proposed with the text dot permit run.
That is correct, yes.
So your ADT and your testing will pretty much really be in the first section of
Will
it.
be, okay.
Because your commercial facilities would be in the front side of it as opposed to in the lab, so he was looking about.
You said first section, you mean the commercial.
Yes, what he was, that's what his thought.
I was looking at the Amber section, it's calling that first section, but you're calling the other part of the first section.
The orange section and on the right side of the road, this is commercial developments proposed. Good change, small. Somebody in my life said, I want to keep it all plain.
So we have, on the table, various requests from the fire hydrants. We have a groundwater district permit issued in December for your irrigation plan, right?
Yes.
The public water supply well is still pending.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And just, according to CCN, and let me correct you, you don't need a CCN for more than 15 connections.
Or under 50 connections.
Or under 15
As
connections.
I mentioned at the very beginning, the reason, from my perspective, the groundwater district permit for this public water supply well, the second well. The main reason that it's been held up is because their regulations mention the CCN process. And the CCN process is another state agency that we have to deal with. And a rather lengthy process that their rules don't require until 15 houses are lived in.
So to that point, how many gallons the 19 lots use? How's the ratio? Or
It's a small fraction of, because Blow is designed for 50.
exactly, but how much gallons per minute do you need for 19 homes?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what.
It's 0.6 gallons per minute.
Actually,
So if you multiply 0.6 by 19, you're under the 17 gallons per minute. That asks you for an extent well on the groundwater district. So for phase one, which is the one that we're approving right now, basically, we don't need, we will do it.
And
Of
the
course,
groundwater district
we're getting
needs to issue a permit as a public water system. But yes, in reality, that's, yeah, there's not really anything moving on the groundwater district process.
So the question on the table for the court is the variance request of fire engines.
And just to, sorry if I can speak real quick, that was this variance request, as you see on this, like, there was a geotech involved to show that the road leading to the tank that we're installing meets the capacity for a fire truck. And also, we did the design and Ron also looked at it about putting the tank, and we follow the rules and regulations to make sure that we have a connection to that. And it's a 5,000, I think you require 2,500. We went and did a 5,000 gallon tank to go a little bit over and beyond.
I do like your standpipe compared to the last one I'm just saying,
So the 5,000 gallon tank. Does what?
It's in case of a fire emergency, a fire truck can go and connect to that.
Fire truck.
Yeah.
So if the court didn't approve your variance request the 5,000 gallon tank would be very helpful, would it?
If the board didn't approve the variance request, we would have to go and put fire hydrants.
Correct.
And that would mean doing a lot more studies, using a lot more water to prove that we can use the fire hydrants.
You probably, since you've already kind of designed everything, you probably. This is a question.
Yeah, of course.
You probably build a big old storage tank. And pumps to supply the fire hydrant.
More than likely, yes, you will need some storage. I don't know if Crippin will need some ground storage tanks. That will need some huge pumps that will be pumping everything to make sure that the pressure.
Why fire hydrants aren't feasible is because a fire hydrant, you know, according to national code, fire codes, needs to supply 600 to 1,000 gallons per minute, you know, for an extended period of time. And our water system is designed for the residences. The well itself only produces about 100 gallons a minute. So the storage tank needed to provide 1,000 gallons a minute is tremendous coverage.
Right, you have to have, what, 40, 50, 60,000 gallon.
But it's in much larger than that even.
Much larger?
Yes.
Okay. Water tower size.
Yeah.
Just a lot of water that you have to pump from the ground.
And which becomes a problem then even maintaining the quality of the water as it sits. And
Absolutely.
so the fire hydrants, the way I understand it, this variance, and, you know, with consulting with the fire marshal, provides for, instead of having hydrant systems to protect homes from fire, the homes are also spread out enough, and with the storage tank, that a truck can go, it has the proper connections, so that a fire truck can come and pull water out of it quickly. The tank is then refilled very quickly by the well next to it. And, that allows fires to be, that would, in this development or this ability for.
The reason, that the tanks, we say 2,500 is because that's what the legislature authorized counties to do. You're graciously willing to go to 5,000. I think 5,000 is insufficient. I think it's insufficient for a rainwater system. And, I'm thinking about proposing to the court in the near future, a rebate system, if you will, or an incentive system. But in my head, it's got to be at least a 10,000 gallon tank.
Yeah, 10,000 gallon just.
Let me ask you, before you just jump on that 10,000, I was trying to sell you on something. I've got a developer that got a variance for not needing fire hydrants, and he gave us a 30,000 gallon tank.
And he does in every subdivision that he's done with county. He does too.
I mean, it's just a big metal tank, you can buy them, and turn around mountain, pretty easy.
He also has it set up outside of their gate where you can get to it. And hook
Yes,
up
the
to
purpose
it.
of that tank is that the
It's a community.
fire department can use it for.
He showed it out of good effort, and I mean, they've got it, designed in front of their building. I think I've done two in my precinct, and maybe one or two, congratulations.
I'm getting some dogs back there in the back.
There's a house on that Triple S trail that I was talking to you about earlier. Were you to have a 30,000 gallon tank at the front of your property. And the fire department would love to have them go save that house.
Yes.
Why don't we do it in between? I mean, 30,000 and 10,000, we do 20,000.
30,000 is simple, it's just
Just a little.
low profile,
I
nice.
got it, 30,000. And, no problem, got it, definitely.
It can all be transported with the same truck.
So I'll make a motion to approve the variance for no fire hydrants in the subdivision. Based on a 30,000 gallon fire suppression tank.
So is this a single?
Yes, this is a single, just on that variance.
Second, is there a second?
I'll take it.
Commissioner Weir seconds, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. What else?
Bonnie, has all the rest of the paperwork been done on this?
Oh, that said. Water availability, everything is in. Notice one thing here, y'all, on the easement, you need to clean it up. Because it says, bring all certain, track, situated in county of Williamson. County of Blanco. So, if y'all think that change, I'll make a motion to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Liesel, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Sorry. Oh, Commissioner Riley is that. All right. Congratulations, we got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, same here. Good to have you on. Yes.
Pardon me.
No, no,
24.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, plan.
So, I got a replat at Rock and J. So I move to approve the replat for lots 182 and 183 in Rock and J subdivision to be known as 182A.
Is there a second? Second. We'll read through the discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now we'll do the program. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, let's see.
What's your recommendation?
That the short jump?
I know.
The three fire chiefs have asked that the permit be lifted.
They did. Yes.
I move that we lift the burn ban today at noon until, just lift it, sorry, just lift it. Okay, neutral.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Wait, motion to adjourn.
Second, Riley.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye.